When most people think of Portugal, they picture golden beaches, colorful trams, and the streets of Lisbon. But this small country hides one of the most extraordinary geographical stories on Earth. A place where giant Atlantic waves rise higher than 10-story buildings. Where volcanic islands sit on the meeting point of 3 tectonic plates. Where medieval knights secretly survived after disappearing across Europe. And where a tiny kingdom standing at the very edge of the continent changed the course of world history. Portugal may be one of Europe's smallest nations, but its influence reached every corner of the globe. Today, we're uncovering 15 incredible facts that reveal the hidden side of Portugal. Welcome to Planet Earth Explorer. Let's begin. Far out in the Atlantic Ocean, nearly 1,500 kilometers from mainland Portugal, lies one of the most extraordinary places on Earth, the Azores. At first glance, they appear to be peaceful volcanic islands surrounded by endless blue water, but beneath the surface, 3 enormous tectonic plates collide: the North American plate, the Eurasian plate, and the African plate. Very few places on Earth sit directly above such a powerful geological intersection. Over millions of years, volcanic eruptions built these islands from the ocean floor. Today, steaming fumaroles, hot springs, earthquakes, and dramatic volcanic craters all remind visitors that the Earth beneath them is still alive. Standing in the Azores means standing at one of the planet's greatest geological crossroads. Most beaches are known for calm water. Nazaré is famous for the exact opposite. Every winter, gigantic walls of water rise from the Atlantic. Some exceed 26 meters in height. The secret lies beneath the ocean. Hidden offshore is the Nazaré Canyon, an immense underwater trench stretching more than 200 kilometers toward the deep Atlantic. As powerful ocean swells rush into the canyon, their energy becomes concentrated. When those waves suddenly meet the shallow continental shelf, they explode upward into mountains of water. Today, professional surfers travel from around the world hoping to ride what many consider the biggest surfable waves on Earth. It's one of nature's greatest spectacles, created almost entirely beneath the sea. Across Europe, borders have changed countless times. Kingdoms have risen, empires have fallen, and maps have been redrawn again and again. Portugal is different. Its frontier with Spain has remained almost unchanged since the Treaty of Alcañiz in 1297. For more than 7 centuries, mountains, rivers, and the Atlantic Ocean helped define one of Europe's most stable national boundaries. Generations came and went. Wars reshaped the continent. Yet Portugal's outline remained remarkably familiar. It's one of the oldest continuously recognized borders anywhere in Europe, a rare example of geography helping preserve an entire nation's identity. In 1312, one of Europe's most powerful military orders suddenly disappeared. The Knights Templar were dissolved across the continent. Their castles were seized, their leaders arrested, their wealth confiscated, almost everywhere. Except Portugal, protected on Europe's Atlantic frontier. The Portuguese king found an extraordinary solution. Instead of destroying the order, he simply gave it a new name: the Order of Christ. Its members kept their experience, their knowledge, their ships, and many of their resources, more than a century later. That same order would help finance the great Portuguese voyages that transformed global exploration. Sometimes, geography doesn't just protect landscapes, it protects history itself. For most European kingdoms, the Atlantic Ocean marked the end of the known world. For Portugal, it became the beginning. Sitting at Europe's western edge, the country had little room to expand across land, so Portuguese sailors looked west instead. They studied winds, ocean currents, and the stars. They developed new ships capable of surviving long Atlantic voyages, and they discovered something revolutionary: The ocean wasn't a barrier, it was a highway. Within just a few generations, Portuguese explorers connected Europe with Africa, India, Brazil, and eventually East Asia. Few nations have ever transformed their geography into such a powerful advantage. Portugal didn't conquer the Atlantic, it learned how to work with it. At first glance, Madeira looks impossible. Steep volcanic mountains rise almost straight out of the Atlantic Ocean. Towering cliffs leave very little flat land for farming. Yet somehow, for centuries, people managed to grow crops across this rugged island. Their solution was extraordinary. They built hundreds of kilometers of narrow irrigation channels called levadas. Carved directly into mountainsides, these waterways carried fresh rainwater from the wet northern slopes to the dry southern valleys. Some pass through tunnels cut into solid rock. Others cling to cliffs hundreds of meters above the sea. Today, the levadas still carry water across Madeira. They've become one of the world's most spectacular hiking networks. It's a remarkable example of humans adapting to geography instead of trying to defeat it. The Alentejo has always been known for endless plains, hot summers, and dry landscapes. But in the early 21st century, everything changed. Portugal completed one of Europe's largest engineering projects, the Alqueva Dam. Behind it formed an enormous reservoir stretching for more than 80 kilometers. What was once dry countryside became a vast inland sea visible from space. The new lake transformed agriculture across southern Portugal. It supplies drinking water, supports vineyards and olive groves, produces renewable electricity, and even created new opportunities for tourism. Few countries have reshaped their geography on such a massive scale in modern times. Portugal's southern coastline looks almost too beautiful to be real. Golden cliffs, hidden beaches, sea arches, and enormous caves carved into soft limestone. But this landscape isn't finished. Every single day, the Atlantic Ocean continues shaping it. Powerful waves slowly erode the cliffs. Storms carve new caves, old arches collapse, and fresh rock formations emerge. One of the most famous examples is the Benagil Sea Cave. Sunlight pours through a circular opening in its ceiling, illuminating golden walls that were sculpted over millions of years. The Algarve isn't simply a beautiful coastline, it's a landscape still under construction. Some vineyards grow on gentle hills. The Douro Valley chose another path. Here, steep mountainsides rise above the winding Douro River. The rocky slopes are made of ancient schist, a stone that absorbs heat during the day, then slowly releases it throughout the night. For thousands of years, farmers carved thousands of terraces directly into these mountains. Each one supports rows of vines producing grapes for one of the world's most famous wines, port wine. The valley's unique combination of climate, stone, river, and human ingenuity created one of the oldest protected wine regions on Earth. It's a place where geology shapes every bottle. Only 30 kilometers separate Lisbon from Sintra. But stepping into Sintra feels like entering another world. Moist Atlantic air drifts inland before colliding with the Serra de Sintra. As the air rises, it cools, clouds form, rain falls. The result is a unique microclimate unlike anywhere else nearby. Dense forests cover the hills. Exotic plants from around the world flourish here. Even during Portugal's hottest summers, Sintra often remains cool and misty. This extraordinary environment attracted generations of Portuguese kings and nobles. They built extravagant palaces hidden among the forests. The most famous, the colorful Pina Palace, a place where geography helped create one of Europe's most magical landscapes. Every spring and autumn, the skies above Portugal fill with life. Hundreds of thousands of birds arrive from across Europe and Africa. Their destination, the Tagus Estuary. Just outside Lisbon lies one of the largest wetlands in Western Europe. Twice each day, the tides expose vast mudflats rich in food, flamingos, spoonbills, herons, and countless shorebirds stop here to rest before continuing journeys that span entire continents. More than 300 species have been recorded in this remarkable ecosystem. Without places like the Tagus estuary, many of these migrations simply wouldn't be possible. It's one of Europe's greatest wildlife crossroads, hidden beside one of its busiest capitals. Around 20,000 years ago, much of northern Europe was locked beneath ice. Glaciers covered enormous areas of the continent. Forests disappeared. Wildlife retreated south. Portugal became one of Europe's great refuges. Its mild Atlantic climate allowed ancient forests and countless plant species to survive, while much of Europe remained frozen. When the Ice Age finally ended, these surviving populations slowly expanded north again. Many of Europe's modern forests can trace part of their history back to places like Portugal. Long before humans crossed the continent, nature was already beginning its own remarkable migration. Walking through Lisbon can feel like climbing a mountain. The city rises and falls across a series of steep hills overlooking the Tagus estuary. For centuries, these slopes shaped daily life. Narrow streets followed the natural terrain. Viewpoints appeared on nearly every hill, and engineers developed one of Europe's most distinctive public transport systems. Historic yellow trams climb streets that seem impossibly steep. Elevators connect neighborhoods built at different heights from almost every corner of the city. A breathtaking panorama waits at the top. Lisbon didn't grow despite its hills. Its hills became its identity. Few airports in the world have faced a greater challenge than Madeira's. The island is steep, mountainous, and surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. There simply wasn't enough flat land to build a modern runway. So engineers came up with an extraordinary solution. They extended the runway over the ocean itself. Today, part of Madeira Airport rests on 180 massive reinforced concrete pillars. Some rise nearly 70 meters above the waves below. Landing here feels unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. Mountains stand on one side. The Atlantic stretches endlessly on the other. It's one of the greatest examples of engineering adapting to geography. For centuries, sailors feared sailing far from land. Portuguese navigators discovered something remarkable. Sometimes, the fastest route wasn't the shortest. Instead of hugging the coastline, they sailed deep into the Atlantic. There, they found powerful wind systems that carried them safely back toward Europe. This technique became known as volta domar, the return through the sea. It completely transformed ocean navigation. Suddenly, long-distance voyages became far more predictable, safer, and more efficient. Without this discovery, many of the great voyages of exploration might never have succeeded. Portugal didn't simply explore the Atlantic, it learned how the ocean itself worked. From volcanic islands where continents meet, to waves taller than buildings, from medieval knights to explorers who redrew the map of the world. Portugal proves that size has little to do with influence. Its mountains, its rivers, its coastline, and its position on the Atlantic shaped a nation that changed history forever. Every cliff tells a story. Every harbor remembers a voyage. Every landscape reveals another chapter in one of Europe's most remarkable countries. So, which fact surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for another adventure here on Planet Earth Explorer. Until next time, keep exploring.